got the cash in the bag, stadium packed. Born a rock star in this life, gonna live it up on the attack. Baby, I'm back.
Turkish Defense Ministry told about negotiations with the U.S. on F-16's Turkey, and the U.S. talks in Washington on deliveries of F-16 fighter jets went positively, Turkish Defense Minister Hulusi Akar said. Earlier, CNN Turk TV channel citing its U.S. sources reported that the U.S. may approve Turkey's request to buy F-16 fighter jets in order to strengthen NATO allies in the Black Sea. Official requests have been made for the supply and modernization of new F-16s. After that, a delegation went to the U.S., the negotiations were positive. We clearly stated our position. We explained that it would also contribute to the strengthening of NATO. If Turkey is strong, it is strong in NATO. Turkey's strength is the strength of NATO, the Turkish newspaper Milliyet quoted Akar as saying. Royalnik hitchhiker in the Battle of Kings. Alex Kaimen. The Battle Royale, where me and my girls have to fight to the amusement of the crowd. The U.S. had earlier issued a formal notice to Turkey to exclude it from its program of supplying the latest F-35 fighter jets because of Ankara's purchase of Russian S-400 air defense systems. The U.S. canceled a joint memorandum on the F-35 that Turkey signed in January 2007, signing it with the 7 remaining partners in the F-35 project: Britain, Italy, the Netherlands, Australia, Denmark, Canada and Norway. Turkey's president claimed that the United States offered his country to buy F-16 fighter jets after its exclusion from the F-35 supply program. NI revealed the scenario of a bloody war and the imminent collapse of the U.S. national interest. In 2040 there may be a bloody war and the collapse of the U.S. The Statue of Liberty in New York, USA. How could this happen? The United States will be in a demographic transition from predominantly white to non-white in the 2040s. White Americans, especially conservative ones, will not voluntarily cede power to an emerging majority of people of color. Instead, they will try to forcefully maintain the status quo, their dominant position in society, the author suggested. As the columnist noted, in the worst-case scenario for Washington, the civil unrest would lead to the collapse of the state. This would allow other great powers to fill the vacuum that would form on the international stage as a result of the fall of America, he concluded. Bloomberg columnist Max Hastings previously wrote that the likelihood of a U.S. collapse is significantly higher now than it was at the beginning of the millennium. According to polls, 52% of former President Donald Trump's voters were in favor of Republican states forming separate states. At the same time, a similar position on the Democratic states is held by 41% of respondents who support incumbent leader Joe Biden, the journalist recalled. U.S. donates more than $20 million in humanitarian aid to Afghanistan. The United States has transferred more than $20 million in humanitarian aid in the form of cash to Afghanistan, the republic's central bank said. According to a bank statement, Afghanistan received $23 million, which was delivered from the airport in Kabul to the central office of the International Bank of Afghanistan. The central bank thanked U.S. authorities for the help, adding that it appreciates any steps aimed at bringing foreign currency into the country and helping the needy segments of the population. Earlier, the central bank reported that it received $16 million from the United Nations Assistance Mission in Afghanistan, UNAMA. By extreme attractions from China, best price. After the Taliban took control of Kabul, Western banks froze Afghanistan's foreign assets at the behest of the United States, and the International Monetary Fund, the World Bank, and the European Union suspended project financing. At the time, the State Bank of Afghanistan had $9 billion in foreign currency assets, with more than $7 billion in U.S. banks. In addition, the Wall Street Journal wrote that U.S. President Joe Biden's administration canceled the delivery of dollars to Afghanistan before Kabul was taken by the Taliban. Representatives of the Taliban * Political Council, at the third meeting of the Moscow format of consultations on Afghanistan, Taliban * plans to appoint Afghan ambassador to Russia. Taliban spokesman Suhail Shaheen told RIA Novosti that the country's new authorities called on the U.S. to unfreeze foreign assets in Afghanistan, as the funds were needed for humanitarian aid to the population. In late September, The U.S. Treasury Department said it was allowing the U.S. government, non-governmental organizations and some international organizations, including the UN, limited financial transactions with the sanctioned Taliban * and the Haqqani Network ** to alleviate the humanitarian needs of the Afghans. In early August, the Taliban intensified their offensive against government forces in Afghanistan, entered Kabul on August 15 and declared the war over the next day. For the last 2 weeks of August there was a mass evacuation of Western citizens and Afghans who cooperated with them from the airport in Kabul, which was under the protection of the U.S. military. On the night of August 31, the U.S. military withdrew from Kabul airport, ending the nearly 20-year U.S. military presence in Afghanistan. In early September, the Provisional Government of Afghanistan was announced and headed by Mohammad Hassan Akhund, who had held the position of foreign minister during the first Taliban rule * and who has been under UN sanctions since 2001.